Well, last weekend, a Vancouver musician wowed the judges of this year's International Fingerstyle Guitar Championship in Kansas, walking away with the top honors. And he is in the studio now. Don Alder, you heard him playing us to break, and he's going to play us a song coming up. Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
You do have an association with Rick Hansen as well, which we'll get to in a sec. But first of all, I'm not a guitarist. Although I could play one on TV. No, I'm not. But what is fingerstyle? Yeah, you'd have to teach me. That would take a lot longer than this show allows. What is fingerstyle guitar? Is it classical guitar?
No, it isn't. But if you take a look at any type of music where there's guitar involved, a lot of times they'll use fingers in their technique. So you have classical players using fingerstyle technique. You got flamenco players, folk singer-songwriters. So really, it's just not using a pick or a plectrum and using your thumb and fingers to pick the strings.
And how long have you been playing?
I've been playing all my life. But I got serious with acoustic just after the Man in Motion World Tour, so about 20 years ago. Actually, 10 years ago I got serious about it.
So Man in Motion, you've known Rick Hansen your whole life. You work with the foundation. Tell us about that relationship.
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm a lucky kid because I grew up with a guy, as you know, that has amazing track record of accomplishments in this country. And so I think a little bit of him rubbed off into me, the great influence, and I won this contest. And that's just the start of many things to come now. I got some big dreams, all inspired by him. So
you were saying to me off camera before we started talking that if it hadn't been for that friendship with him, you don't know that you would even have reached the level you have.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. It's easy to look back and make judgments. But I think if I look back then, I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself, and that's where Rick became, pivotal in how I turned out. I was like the worst kid on the basketball court where I met him. He was one of the better players.
Right.
And he sort of befriended me and helped me get my skills better, although it didn't work very well. But, once he did that, I was loyal to him forever.
Well, your talent is obviously in guitar.
We're hoping.
All right, let's have a listen, and we'll talk more after. What song are you going to play us?
This is a song called The Wall.
Okay.
And I was back in China in, let's see, last September of last year. They're shooting perhaps a movie about Rick's life. We're not sure if it's going to happen, but we're hoping.
Okay.
And I got to go back on the wall again, and I just had a guitar there with me, and I was just hoping that something would come back to me. And then I started recounting some of those days that we had when we were actually back on the wall during the tour. And I got this little nugget of music, and just have been developing it ever since.
Okay, let's have a listen to The Wall.
Okay. This is a shortened version.
Okay. You need to do like a rock star kick at the end. That's beautiful. You really use the whole guitar. I mean, you're using it for some rhythm, you're using the body of it.
It's a great instrument, and because we're doing the early morning thing, I'm still waking up, on the musician thing. So I'm playing gently, but usually when I play in concerts and show,
you rock out.
It's pretty crazy. I got big splits and cracks, as you can see, all over the place, and it becomes quite a drum for me. I drummed when I was a child as well too. So.
Okay, so you have the rhythm. So you come by it naturally.
Pound it on the guitar.
That's beautiful, and I don't know how to define it, but it feels West Coast to me too. It feels very much like BC.
Well, thank you. It's
great. And what is this? We have a pretty funky looking guitar right here.
This is an interesting instrument I got not too long ago. It's called a harp guitar. That's been around for hundreds of years, but it was Michael Hedges that sort of made it popular back in the 80s, I guess. And I have a couple of friends that inspired me to start playing it, so I've started adopting this into my repertoire as well.
I'm told I can get off of my perch and reach for it. Can I touch it?
Oh, absolutely. It's almost as big as you are.
I know, it's gigantic. I don't know if you could... We have time. We've only got a minute left. Is there a possibility? What does it sound different than?
Well, I can just pluck a couple strings. The idea is that.
Did you want me to take your other guitar?
No.
Okay.
Is you have 6 strings that you pick, like regular, and you have these bass strings that work down on the bottom.
And so you can play both of the.
You can. You actually have to stretch out, and that's the idea of it. But it's hard to tame because the bass strings always sort of want to ring as well, so you have to do a lot of dampening. It's quite a different instrument.
That's pretty amazing to look at. Well, congratulations. And Rick, you work with the foundation. You'll be doing some more work to promote the foundation and to promote Rick's cause.
Absolutely.
And you'll be using your music to do that as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, Rick's, it's great because Rick's always about the next big dream, right? And when you go to work and hang around with a guy like this, and all the new staff we have too, it's just all super juiced when you walk in the office every day. So when you hang around a guy like this, you can't help but be influenced and inspired to do things. So for me now, the next big dream for me is to get out there, share Rick's story, share my music, and hopefully inspire others so that in their communities they can make a difference.
And speaking of sharing your music, you have CDs as well?
I do, yeah.
Okay, you can find out more information on Don's website, which is www.donalder.com. Can we also hear some music on your website?
On MySpace you can, myspace.com, Don Alder.
Okay, myspace.com, Don Alder, and donalder.com, and of course, rickhansen.com for more information on Don's good friend Rick. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.